Hi Booksters, I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, we're going to be talking about arguments and fighting in relationships of all sorts. It doesn't have to be intimate. It could be any relationship that you have as a parent or a child or co-worker, friend. Why do we argue? What is the purpose of arguments, especially if we're doing it with all the people that we have in relationships? And then also, are you arguing correctly? After what I found in today's featured book, I bet you're doing it wrong. Hey there, Booksters, and welcome to the Booksters Club, where we find daily inspiration from the books you love. Today's featured book is The 7 Secrets to Healthy, Happy Relationships by Don Miguel Ruiz and Heathrash Amara. And today's inspirational thought comes to us on page number 198. It says, being curious. Asking open-ended questions of yourself and your partner can really help deepen your conversations. Gently remind yourself to steer towards questions free from judgments or assumptions and avoid questions that cast blame or come preloaded with a negative bias. For instance, why do you always do that? Might seem true to you in the moment, but it can also put your partner on the defensive. Having awareness of your intentions behind a question is key. Are you genuinely curious and open to hearing the answer? Or do you already think you know the answer and are instead looking to teach your partner a lesson or show them that you're right? Trying to show the other person in a relationship that you're right is only going to work for the short term. And if you really want a long-lasting, deep relationship with someone, both as a partner, as a parent, as a friend, then you are going to need to grow. And the way that you do that is by admitting when you're wrong and really taking a deeper look at yourself. Look, that's going to take vulnerability, that's going to take honesty, and it's going to take curiosity. When you're in an argument with someone, whether that be a spouse or you're a parent or a child or a friend, someone is going to have to take on the leadership position of modeling what vulnerability, honesty, and curiosity actually look like in the moment, in the fight. And it's like the last thing that you want to do is be vulnerable with someone who's trying to make themselves right and you look wrong. But it is long-term the best thing to do. You may feel like you're losing the battle and winning the war in that aspect because, if you can show vulnerability, they may not reciprocate it in the moment, but long-term, they will start to reciprocate that. And then that's where that real growth can come in and take form. If you are in the relationship type of a parent and a child, this is going to be your responsibility as a parent. It is never your child's responsibility to show you, to model to you what vulnerability, honesty, and curiosity looks like during an argument. That's your job as a parent. And your job is to teach them what that looks like. Look, we can disagree on something, but this is how we're going to go about doing it. If you were a child and your parent never was able to forgive or to show vulnerability, then odds are you've adopted that and now you're having a hard time with that. But that doesn't mean you pass the buck on to your child. That's your responsibility. You need to wipe the slate clean and you need to show that vulnerability and curiosity in arguments. So then that way they can see, look, this is how we have a discussion about something that we disagree on, and this is how we go about doing it. If you're in a partnership, you have friends, coworker, well, you're equal. So it's not anybody's particular job to take on that leadership role and show and model what that looks like. However, you should always be taking responsibility for your own growth. So, don't tally things. Don't I'm always the one that has to show vulnerability first. Like, first, second, it doesn't really matter. You still have to grow from the situation. Curiosity is how you grow in an argument. When you really start to think about why certain things happen, why did I get triggered by that? Why did you get triggered by that? When you get really curious, then real growth starts to happen. Even if you are the person that always does it first, it's still your responsibility for your own growth to make sure that you are being proactive about that. Don't withhold curiosity. Don't withhold vulnerability and honesty because, it's not my turn. I always do it. Now it's your turn. What does it look like to be curious during an argument? Well, your mind isn't made up. When you're curious, you're open to whatever the answer may be, and curiosity involves questions. So you want to ask questions that really are open-ended, the way that Don Miguel Ruiz was saying in his book, that can really get to the bottom of what's going on. Now, be careful that your questions aren't loaded, like he said, that you're not asking questions where you know the answer to them and you're like, so, why did you do what you did, or why do you always do that? Those are going to be questions that are going to make the opponent defensive. And so if you're really curious about what's going on, you can actually ask questions about yourself, and you can say, you know what, I'm not sure what's going on right now. I'm really curious as to why that upset me so much. I don't know why that upset me so much. Why do you think that? Why do you think that I'm so upset by this? I don't get it. I feel really angry. What do you think this is? And asking the other person to look at you introspectively and kind of show that vulnerability, the guard is down, you are more likely to get reciprocation in that, and then really start to evolve the conversation into like what needs to change, what needs to be looked at. And also, if you're looking at the situation differently, that is the way curiosity is really magnified. So if you always come into an argument and you always see it in a certain light, and your vantage point is always the same, where it's like maybe like, I'm always a victim, I'm always a victim, I'm always a victim, I'm always a victim. Curiosity helps to change that viewpoint and give you a different vantage point, and start to see things as, what's my part in this? What did I do to contribute to this? Why am I always in this situation? Or what is it about me that always finds myself having this particular argument? Curiosity can do that. It can kind of shift the view of where you usually are on, and what side of the argument you're usually on. So those are some of the benefits of really showing curiosity in an argument and within an argument or a discussion or a disagreement. And then vulnerability comes in to really just say like, look, I'm not trying to ask you these questions to like they're already preloaded. I'm really honestly just asking because I'm curious about what's going on and what's happening. In any relationship, which would you prefer if you're a parent or a partner? Would you prefer someone to have their mind made up about you already? Have their mind made up about what you did wrong and what you need to feel as a punishment? Or would you rather have someone that has your best interest at heart and is always willing to give you the benefit of the doubt? Someone who always sees your best self and is genuinely curious when you start acting out, and they start asking questions as to, what's bothering you, or why would you do that, or doesn't seem like you, or that's not like you. Of course, we would want the latter. We want someone to see us in our best selves all the time and see us as our highest self all the time. And when that doesn't happen, because it does, then to get curious about, what's going on, because that's what we want in a partner. That's what we want in a parent. We want someone who's paying attention to us and our cues when we aren't performing at our best self, and saying, wow, something's kind of going on. What's happening? And then they can help us get back to, balance, get back to our higher self, get back to who we really truly are. That's what we want in a parent. That's what we want in a partner. So if that's what we want, that's what we should do for others. If this video was valuable to you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Any, arguments that you've had and you're trying to use curiosity, I would love to hear some of the questions that you think you might use next, or that you have used, that really shifted the argument and went from like to okay, we're really looking at this from a different vantage point. I would love to hear about that in the comments. If you had a different take on this part of the book, a different part in this book, or a different book entirely that you would like to see here featured on the Booksters Club, I would love to hear about that in the comments as well. Thank you so much for clicking that like button if you like this video and if you found it valuable. And don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe if you're new, because I post new videos just like this every single day. See you tomorrow, Booksters. Engaged in an, okay, let's clean that up. Okay, so someone has to be the leader. Don't say so. You were okay, so let's redo the whole thing, because I was like, you need to do it. Don't yell at your audience. Okay, so what is it? Don't say so. So in any relationship, don't say so.